Most people think you need an audience to ever make money with digital products, and I'm here to tell you that's a full-blown myth that's stopping you from even starting. Now, while I'm sitting on a decent sized audience right now, I had none of that on the platform where I made 2.2k in 2 months. I didn't make any content with my face in it. I wasn't going off my previous reputation. It was just a Notion template I built with AI and cold traffic from Pinterest. Now, in this video, I'm going to give you the exact process, how I built the product, how I listed it, and how I drove traffic to it with zero ad spend. This is all going to be step by step, no BS. And as crazy as this sounds, I'm also going to tell you why copying what I built would actually be the wrong move for you and what you should do instead. Now, before we open anything, I need to talk about something that no one in these make money with digital products videos ever actually addresses. And it's the reason most people build something, list it, and get zero sales. They build a generic product for a market they don't know. So budget trackers, content calendars, habit planners. You've seen these everywhere, and the reason they're everywhere is because every tutorial tells you to make them. So you end up competing with thousands of identical products from people who also just watched a YouTube video and then copied the template. Now, here's what those people are missing, and it's so obvious once you see it. You already have very niche knowledge. So whatever space you're in, let's say you're into fitness, interior design, meal prep, travel, gaming, beauty, coding, whatever it is, you know things about that world that a generic template creator doesn't. You of all people would know the specific problems that people in that space actually have. You know what frustrates them, what they're searching for, what they wish existed. That is worth way more than any AI prompt. So instead of telling you to build a specific product and copy it, I want you to think about your own niche first. Because think about it, a fitness coach who builds a Notion template for client check-ins is going to understand exactly what a fitness coach needs in the dashboard. A food blogger who builds a recipe testing tracker knows every column and category that actually matters to a real customer. Even an Etsy seller who builds a product launch planner will know the exact workflow from idea to listing. Now, I'm not saying that those products don't exist. I'm saying that generic versions of those products exist, but yours could be a lot better, purely because of the fact that you've lived it. The formula is simple. Think about what you personally use, what things you track or plan or organize in your niche that doesn't have a really good tool for it yet, or think about what questions beginners in your space ask over and over again. Those questions are telling you exactly what they'd pay to have answered in a ready-made system. Now, for this video, I'm going to be using a content creator toolkit. Reason being is that it's my world. I can explain the decisions behind every section. So for example, the one that I currently use right now has a content calendar, brand kit, rate card, income tracker. It's something that I actually initially used for myself only, but then when I tweaked it and realized how useful it could be, I started to sell it back. But yeah, every single step that I'm going to show you in this video is going to work for whatever niche you choose. What you're doing essentially is just swapping the product. So for example, if you love traveling, you can build a travel planning and packing system with details that people would actually care for. Even like super niche things, like for example, a debt tracking dashboard, or let's say for example, you're a student and you want to build a planner or a study tracker. Think about the type of template that you would need and that you would actually use, and then we're going to use AI to do the building. Your niche knowledge is what's going to make your template worth buying over a generic version that people can find anywhere. That is going to be your competitive advantage. Not the tool, you, literally just you. Okay, so this is where people expect me to tell them to open ChatGPT and paste some sort of prompt. We're not going to be doing that. We're building directly inside of Notion using Notion AI. And honestly, the output is so much better than anything that you'd be able to piece together manually. If you haven't got Notion yet, it's free to sign up. Notion AI is actually a paid add-on, which I think is around $10 a month, but there is a free trial, so you can do everything in this video using the free trial before you spend a single penny. The link will be down in my description for that. But yeah, once you're in, you're going to open a new page and you're going to click the Notion AI button on the left. This is where all the magic is going to happen. What you type into the Notion AI right now determines everything. And the single biggest mistake people make is being too vague. So people just type in something like build me a content tracker, and of course it's going to give you something very basic. It's basically going to give you something that no one would really care to pay for. So instead, what you want to do is give Notion AI a brief that is so specific it has no choice but to build something that's really useful. On the screen right now is the prompt that I use for my content creator toolkit, but I've basically modified it so you can use it for any and every product that you could possibly dream of making. I'm going to leave the prompt down in my description and in the pinned comment so you can access it easily. Make sure you fill it out properly with as much detail as you can provide, and Notion AI will start building the whole thing in front of you. Now this usually takes like 30 to 60 seconds depending on how complex your brief is. And once it's done, you're going to need to review it. Now the first version is probably not going to be perfect. My one wasn't. My dashboard wasn't pulling the totals correctly. The content calendar was missing the status drop down options, all of that stuff. These things are completely normal. That's going to be version 1, not the finished product that comes out. So what you need to do is stay inside Notion AI and just type the problem directly into the chat. Notion AI will update the template in real time. You're literally just having a conversation with it. You don't have to start from scratch every single time something is off. Something that I recommend that you do is actually go through the template, make sure that all the buttons work, make sure that everything is adding up. Like really pretend that you're the customer that has just downloaded it and is going to start using it. That is exactly where you're going to see what needs to be tweaked. And as I said, if there's anything that is incorrect or that you want to change, you can literally just have a simple conversation with the Notion AI tool and it will fix it for you. Next up, you need to make your template look like a product worth having. Okay, so you've got a working template, that's perfect. We're not listing it yet because right now it looks like a free Notion page and we're not trying to give that energy. Having a functional dashboard versus a sellable dashboard are two completely different things. The first thing your buyer needs to see before they read a single word of your description is how it looks. And if someone opens up your template and it's just a bare Notion page with no cover, no visuals, nothing, they're gonna feel like they got scammed, even if what's inside is actually quite useful. So this is a part where I introduce you to the tool that is gonna take your template from looking homemade to looking like something people are actually paying for. And this is also the sponsored part of today's video. Now, Kittl is an AI-powered design platform, and the reason I'm using it and not just Canva is because of one very specific feature, the image generation and remixing tool. Now, this lets you create lifestyle mockups with your actual product content inside. So instead of you using a generic stock image on your listing, you get a real image of your template on a laptop screen in an aesthetic setup that looks premium. That right there is what converts a browser into a buyer. And we're not just using Kittl once, we're using it to brand the template, create the listing, the cover, and even later when we're trying to make Pinterest pins to drive traffic to everything. So it's genuinely worth having an account before you go any further, and you can continue this step by step for free using the link in my description. They do offer a free plan with credits ready to use. You do not need to enter any of your card details or anything like that. Also, if you decide to upgrade, I actually managed to speak with them and they've been so kind to allow me to give you guys 25% off the yearly plan on your first month using my code Glowithgia at checkout. The link is going to be down in the description. Go ahead and grab that and come back when you're ready. Amazing, let's go. Step 1, what we're going to do is we're going to give our template a proper cover. So in Kittl, we're going to create a new project and we're going to set the dimensions to 1.5 by 600 pixels. This is the size that Notion uses for page covers. So we're going to go into the AI image generator and prompt something that matches the niche aesthetic. So for example, in my one, I use minimal desk setup, laptop, coffee, neutral warm tones, clean. It literally takes under 30 seconds and then it's done. And then I'm going to just head back over to Notion, click add cover at the top, upload it, and now the template already looks like something worth paying for before anyone has even scrolled down to see the rest. Now we're going to go ahead and add a few visuals inside the templates. You don't want to overdo this because I feel like when you add too many pictures and graphics, it can start to look quite cheap. You want to add just enough to make it feel like it's been really thought out instead of just like a functional basic template. This is how I decided to decorate my one, so I added 2 or 3 images throughout. You can add a few clean graphics on the dashboard page and generate them in Kittl using the same aesthetic, so everything feels super cohesive. It literally takes you 20 seconds to generate the images and then drop them into the Notion template. And now, as you can see, my template looks like a real product that is ready to be sold. What I like to do is like just the little finishing touches is I'll kind of go through and like change the text colors, add some colored highlights and stuff to make it all look super cohesive and branded. And now we can move into step 3, which is creating the listing cover. Now this is the image that shows up on Gumroad, Etsy, eventually even on Pinterest. So it's basically your product thumbnail and it needs to do a lot of heavy lifting. So we're going to make this properly. What you want to do is take a screenshot of the best looking section of your finished template. Then we're going to head over to Kittl and we're going to remix the image. So you're going to upload the screenshot and prompt professional product mockup. This design on a laptop screen, minimal desk setup, warm neutral tones. What's going to come back is a lifestyle photo with your actual template visible on the screen, just like this one. It's your real product in a real setting. So you're going to save that image because you're going to use it on multiple places. Now we're ready to put this template out into the world, but you need to first make it shareable. So in order to do that, you're going to head over to Notion. So what you're going to do is head over to the top right. You're going to click share, and from here you're going to publish it, and you're going to allow duplicate as template. So you're going to toggle that on. This is going to generate a public link, and that link is going to be your product. So anyone that clicks on it can duplicate the entire workspace right into their own Notion accounts. And now you're ready to actually post it onto Gumroad. Now you can quickly sign up for Gumroad, create create your account and hit new product, you're going to select digital product and you're going to paste your Notion link as the delivery. You're going to give this a name. Now you can obviously use ChatGPT or Claude to help you out. One of the things that I love about Gumroad is that if you paste your actual product into it, it's going to scan it and then give you an automatic listing from that. This is a new feature, so it actually makes your process a lot easier. From here, you're going to upload the listing cover that you just made in Kittl as the product thumbnail, and that image is going to do the selling before anyone reads a single word, so do not skip that step. As I said, Gumroad does all of the heavy lifting for you because it has a built-in AI tool that analyzes the product and writes the title and descriptions for you. So if writing sales copy makes you want to go and close your laptop and lie down, then that problem is already solved. What I suggest is that you use what it generates, but you tweak it to sound more like you, and just make sure that it leads with the problem your buyer has before it talks about the features. From here, we're going to go into the price. Now, since this is your first template, I would recommend that you price it between $12.99 and $24.99. Anything lower, in my opinion, looks kind of like a throwaway freebie, and obviously anything over looks a little bit overpriced. We're not at that stage yet because you obviously have 0 reviews and no social proof to back up why people should buy the template. The middle range is where you get buyers who genuinely value what they're getting without you having to do too much work to justify the price. And remember what I said at the start, that a super niche specific product is basically going to ask for a higher price than the generic one because your buyer's not comparison shopping. They're basically finding the exact template built for someone exactly like them. Now that is a completely different purchase decision and it's worth pricing accordingly. Now you have the product, you've published it, now you actually need people to find it. And this is the part that made the difference between my template sitting there quietly and making over $2,000 in 2 months. Pinterest. Now I've been building multiple Pinterest accounts for years, and right now I have over 34 million monthly views across all of them. That is a lot of eyes, and that's the reason why Pinterest works so well for digital products specifically. That's because people on Pinterest are already in buying mode, so they're searching for solutions, saving ideas, planning purchases. They're not really doom scrolling like how they would be on TikTok and Instagram. They're actually looking for things that they want. Your job at that point is just to show up in front of them. And that is where Kittl comes back in, because we already have it open and we also know how it works. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a new project in Kittl. We're going to do the aspect ratio of 1000 by 1.5,000 pixels. That is Pinterest recommended format and it's non-negotiable. Square pins get compressed in the feed and they take up less space, so they actually tend to perform a lot worse. Please be sure to use the right size. I know a lot of people will tell you to use the square pins. They're not as effective. Now from here, what you're going to do is you're going to turn your listing cover into a pin. You already made a lifestyle mockup of your template in Kittl. We're going to use that as the base for your pin. So you're going to go into the image, add a text overlay. You just need to make sure that it's nice and legible from a distance, especially because remember, most Pinterest users are using their phones. If I'm not mistaken, the stats are around 80 to 82% of users are using their mobiles on Pinterest. So keep that in mind. For me, when I'm posting this pin, it's going to say something along the lines of the Notion toolkit I wish I had when I started, or stop winging your content creator business. As I said, I'm going to keep the font super clean, the contrast really high, and I'm going to make sure that I don't overcrowd it with too much text because then it's going to look busy. What I like to do is I create a dedicated board for my niche, so something super specific like Notion templates for content creators. This is also going to make Pinterest understand exactly what my pin is about so it can show it to the right people. Now for the most important part of the pin, which is writing the description, you need to remember that you're writing for a search engine. So you want to make sure you're using full sentences and natural keywords are being mixed into it. Now, if you're not good at this, you can go ahead and use ChatGPT or Claude. Make sure that you give it the full context of what the product is so it can create an SEO-optimized description for you. This is exactly how people are going to find your product. Even if someone types in content creator dashboard on Google, I still have the possibility to show up based off the fact that my descriptions are SEO-optimized. From here, you're going to go ahead and link the exact product in the pin. Another thing that I suggest that you do on your Pinterest is you actually put your Gumroad link in your bio. My suggestion is that you use Kittl to make a batch of different pin styles to post to your Pinterest. From there, you can post 3 to 5 pins a day all about your product, and your product pin should be around 20 to 30% of what you post. I'd say the rest of it should be really useful content in your niche. So for example, if you wanted to create infographics, tutorials, tips, inspo, that is how you're actually going to grow your Pinterest account and get people to trust your advice. I've noticed that when I'm selling anything, not just on Pinterest, like whether it's Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, one of the things that you absolutely need to do is give as much value as you can, and then you let the product convert into the trust that you've already built. This is how you're going to see the highest conversions, because people don't actually need to know who you are, they just need to find your content useful. And that's exactly why I said at the start of the video that it doesn't matter if you have 0 followers or subscribers to your name. You can literally do this method step by step, starting from scratch, and make sales of it. But yeah, that's actually what I want you to take from this video. It's not just the Notion AI prompt, it's not the Kittl workflow. I want you to understand that the digital product market is not saturated. The generic digital product market is saturated, and those are completely different things. I feel like budget trackers and content calendars are everywhere because everyone copies the exact same tutorials. But at the end of the day, a Notion template built specifically for someone in your niche by someone who really understands it is rare. And even if one exists, yours will be better because you've actually lived it. You know the frustrations, you know the specific gaps, the things that people in your space would actually pay to have sorted out for them. So do not watch this video and build exactly what I built. Watch this video and ask yourself, what do I actually know from my own experience that would help someone in my space? What is it that someone would genuinely pay money to have organized for them? Once you answer that and you use everything I showed you today to build it, brand it, and list it, and then put it in front of the right people, you're pretty much set. But yeah, that wraps up today's video. As I said, the Kittl link is in the description along with the Notion AI prompt, so you can go ahead and grab both and make them your own. If you have any questions at all, drop them down in the comments. I'll be sure to read every single one and reply. Best of luck, and I'll catch you in the next one.